Hey, Bill, something you noted on our little quick questionnaire that James sent you um, was fear of failure, and I wanted to touch base on that. Is that because that's something that I feel probably every generation has, but I think it's our generation pretty big time because of the way that we were brought up. And
Yeah.
it, I think a lot of us use that. I mean, I've abused it. Um, I probably still don't know how to handle it properly, but I know for me, it still takes up a lot of headspace. Do you feel that that's something you've conquered or something that you've gotten under control? Where are you at with it now?
Well, he's fucking
No, I don't think that's something that will ever leave me.
yeah.
And I think it's something that, I think every generation takes from the generation before. And I think that that was a big part of who our parents' generation was, especially coming off of the struggles of their parents' generation.
Yeah.
And so I think that was something that they instilled in us. At least I know that my parents did. And that is something that I just remember that was like, failing was, I mean, it's a cliche, but failing wasn't an option, but and it wasn't. Where I think that this generation, not necessarily that I don't think they look at failure as a bad thing. That where I know I did. Okay, I think that this new generations look at failures as new opportunities,
Mhm.
or as that's just another step in the road, or what have you, uh, of their maturation process or whatnot. But I think that for at least for me, and some people that I know, failure for us was, man, you couldn't live, like, you couldn't live with failure.
Yeah, that's so odd.
Regardless of, you had to overcome it.
Yeah, it's so odd because I mean, and I'm Gen X, so I mean, I'm legit. I have my card, Gen X. I didn't see failure that way. I mean, it was shameful. I mean, I knew I had that temporary, like,
But it's mental though.
right. I knew that someone was going to be disappointed, right? But, and I don't know what it was because I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go and try this, and and we'll see what happens. So, for me personally,
Well, well,
failure.
if I
I look at failure much like I looked at currently, and I think that's why I took so many risks in high school. Right? I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
started
think there's
third
a
club. Started
difference. Yeah, I think that there's a difference between, you know, um, so I think there's different kinds of failures,
yeah, yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
Sort of different levels. I think, you go out for the football team and you fail, but you try again and you
yeah,
succeed, then that failure was nothing more than a stepping stone to your
yeah,
own
yeah, yeah,
success.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and so I think that there are aspects of failure that are what drive people.
yeah.
But I think that I'm talking that failure in totality.
Yeah,
So
on a
to
larger scale,
fail,
because I did feel
yeah,
that
yeah,
when I lost a
at a larger
job or
scale, yeah.
yeah,
To fail my kids
yeah,
was not an option. To fail
yeah,
my family was not an option. To
yeah, yeah,
fail myself in a holistic mode was,
yeah.
not an option. And I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm referring to.
No, no, and that makes more sense. I just wanted to clarify that because because I do think that there was a portion of us that we weren't afraid of going out and trying,
Oh
and
no,
I
no,
think overall though there is that fear that you're not going to live up to something like like your parents' expectations. I don't know if it's framed it in that way, but yeah, I didn't want to be I didn't want to fail my kids. I didn't want to be I
right.
didn't want to do all those things. And when some of those things did hit you, like big life things, even with this, the relationship with Paola and all that crap, right? Those are some pretty big failures that you look at, you could really just live in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what though? If you think about, okay, so you got into a relationship, you're single, you got in a
Yeah.
relationship and it failed. I mean, is that a
Well, yeah, my
failure?
divorce, is it a failure big time and all that?
Yeah,
You do feel
no, no,
sometimes that way.
yeah, no.
Because then when in my kids' eyes, I mean, I failed the marriage in many ways, right? So,
You're talking
I
about your
guess
first
if I looked
marriage.
at it that way, I could, that's a huge thing. Because I always thought marriage, done forever. And
I just take the blame. I mean, I'm on my third marriage. I just take the blame for, first one, I get along with her great right now.
Yeah.
Wendy and I got married quick out of high school. We were friends. It was dumb. Years later, we've realized that we just not a good match. Great friends. I still consider her a great friend.
So that wouldn't be a failure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a failure to get married, but it was not, it wasn't a failure for friendship because I still have a good friend. And you're right. The overall, my son's mom, that wasn't good. And she's not around. She passed away a few years ago. But that did, our marriage lasted a year, maybe. The relationship didn't last very long. But we fought more than anything, and it was mainly, after the fact with, over child custody and all that crap. But you gotta fail to know what success is too. And,
oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I hate to use, so when we talk about failures on an individual level, I would hate to use necessarily relationships as kind of as a foundational point of what success and failure, because it takes two people working together.
Yeah.
To have success.
It's not all your responsibility, right?
Yeah. And if you don't have, you can fail a marriage, you can fail that. But at the same time, it does take two, and it does take the responsibility of both people. And sometimes that's just not there. Sometimes people learn, after a few years that, what they had 3 or 4 years ago just isn't there anymore. And that, and moving on from that, I don't think is necessarily a failure, but a growth.
Yeah. A hardship that's there. I mean, I do, but when you take it back to what motivates us is to not fail, right? I think one time I was reading something about, especially with men, that, and I know this is true about me, and I don't know if it is about you guys, but especially because I looked at my own father, and I had a list in my head of things that I wanted or I would improve on. I'm never going to, right? All those, and what I realized much later on, and I heard it was stated this way, that we make these promises to ourselves that I am never going to, I am going to, and how you're going to be different. And then when you don't, when you break your own promises and you then are repeating exactly what had happened previously, right? I've become like, you have that moment where like, I am my dad or I am my parent, and which is natural, right? And it's not a bad thing, but then I'm even rougher on myself because I made that promise I was never going to, right? I've created this unrealistic thing in my head when I was younger that I was
of course
to achieve.
Yeah, we're product of our parents as our kids are going to be products of us, and and there's going to be bleed overs. And we've taught, the thing is, our parents taught us how to be, so we kind of really don't have a choice but to kind of be them in some respects, later on down the road, because those were our role models. And, our children are going to be the same way, and they're going to catch themselves 20 years from now saying some wazoo things, and they're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm just like my mom. I'm just like my dad. And they're going to, but it's probably also going to fill it with a little bit of pride too, and a little bit of shame for, mocking or belittling us,
and it brings us to this point a little bit before we jump into some health and aging kind of stuff. I did want to cover, because you don't have any grandchildren yet, but how did your youth and the way you were raised impact the way that you parented? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what did you pull over from your own parents that carried over into the way you parented your own kids?
Okay, so remember, there's two involved in parenting.
Oh yeah, I know.
And so you have one person has a set of parents that taught them how to be, and another one has a set of parents that taught them how to be, and they don't always align.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't think that I necessarily raised my children the way that I was raised. My parents were a little bit more strict, a little bit harder in some regards. Definitely my father was a lot more, more of a stone wall as it related to certain things. Moms have a tendency to be more giving. Uh, my wife is Mrs. Claus. So, I mean, not to say that, she wouldn't discipline her kids, she would, but man, you talk about, she is, um, Mary Poppins slash Florence Henderson slash, you get the
They're the
analogy?
Brady Bunch, huh?
Yeah, yeah. She's, and that's how she wanted to raise the kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think my parents had a whole lot of influence on how we raised our children as
Yeah.
much as my wife's influence.
So
Not necessarily
how were
even how
you
we
as a
raised.
father?
What's that?
How were you as a father?
How was I as
I
a
mean, because
father? Or
that's
am
your
as a father?
decision. That's not something that is a two-part series, right? I mean, parenting, but then you as a father. How do you view yourself as a father?
Did you default that you're sometimes, oh, maybe my wife's strategy here is going to be better than my strategy?
No, we just argued about it and I lost for the most part. you know, um, I mean, I was probably harder on my boys, obviously, than my daughter. Um, but my daughter was first, and it's kind of funny because you talk about your sons, your little buddy, and all this stuff, right? Well, my daughter became my little buddy,
Yeah.
and so she was the one that I was taking fishing when she was like 6 months old, and I had her on a boat with me.
Yeah.
And now she's a biologist and works at a zoo,
Oh,
and goes hunting with me and goes fishing with me.
that's
And one of my other sons will too, but my other one, he don't want to hunt, he don't want to fish, he won't want sports with me, he don't want to do any of that stuff. But now he'll play me Xbox if I want to,
yeah.
but so yeah, I mean, I when it came honestly to day in and day out parenting, my wife was kind of took the lead on it, and I rolled with it, and she allowed me every once in a while to put my foot down, and but yeah, I don't think my parents influence really played a whole lot of role into it.
Yeah. So moving on to like a little bit of health and aging, because I mean, I think that's relevant to a lot of our audience is I mean, what's been the biggest adjustments, right? I remember, like for me, I think I was in my 20, like I played after high school, I played high level softball. I mean, I know it's amazing to think that there's high level softball, but we at the local big league dreams, we were the top team for like the longest time, and I played religiously, right? And I played multiple teams, and I would be out there and just constantly playing. And then one day, I'm like, I think I'm in like early 30s, and a guy hit a ball out to the fence, and I got it up off the ground, caught it, and I gunned it from the fence line all the way home and threw the guy out, but also threw out my arm and was never able to, it was never the same again, right? My arm was just totally toast. So from that point forward, I mean, it just changed the way I worked with my body. And I actually, even when I went out and started playing, I used to be able to track a ball, like no matter what it was, I was great at running down a ball in the outfield, and I slide, get it. And then at some point, I'd be running and there was a fly ball, and I'm running and the ball's going like this as I'm running. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I can't even track the ball anymore. And it's falling down in front of me. And you just realize, okay, I can't play these positions anymore. I can't do these things anymore. What adjustments have you noticed over your time, adjust to the reality of
And
aging?
sharing as much as you feel like
Yeah, yeah.
health,
Oh
not
my God.
journey of health and aging.
Well, first of all, getting old sucks.
Yeah.
Anybody who says otherwise is full of crap
Yeah.
or is just looking forward to dying. I don't know
Yeah.
which.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Todd, I noticed you don't wear glasses or
I
you
wear
got contacts in.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
And the reason being is I've always had bad sight,
Yeah.
but I do a lot of grinding,
Right.
welding, and woodworking and stuff, and I'm dumb, so I won't put on safety glasses if I have glasses. So this is, you know, Todd trying to beat out the dumber Todd.
Yeah, so I mean, glasses they suck too. But so I feel for anybody I made fun of in their earliest years of elementary school, high school, whatnot, called them four eyes and whatnot for glasses. I apologize because shame on me. Glasses are horrible. um, I mean, do they say that oh, there's an analogy. It just it passed. There's a sign right there. You know,
Yeah.
you just forget things.
Fucking,
Yeah, you have a thought and it just goes away.
yeah.
Youth is wasted on the young. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Youth
And
is wasted on the young. It was
yeah.
wasted on me.
So
All of us.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was always pretty athletic. I mean, like I said, I wasn't no football star or anything like that, but yeah, I played my fair share of baseball and softball softball probably up until my 40s. I played both on a military team and law enforcement teams and all that stuff. And what happens is, at least for me, life gets in the way, family gets in the way, kids get in the way. You're not eating as well as you're supposed to. You don't exercise as much as you should.
Yeah.
Maybe your job gets a little too cushy, and so you sit more than you need to.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, next thing you know it, you're, you got a little gut going, you're a little flabby, and that's when you
Bod
start.
takes over.
Yeah, dad bod takes over. You start pulling muscles that you never even thought you had, and all those things. And yeah, I went through all that. I mean, I think I got over. I mean, for me, I got to just under 200 pounds at one point, and was working a desk job, and man, I was out of shape, and I took a picture, and I won't go into all the details on it, but it was very not a good look for me. And so I decided, and then at the same time, and I blame this from sitting in a chair, honestly, because I went from working patrol to, working admin behind a desk for a couple of years, and I threw my back out, and I don't know specifically what I did, but as I got the sciatica, and shut my leg down, so I said, well, I need to lose some weight, and so started exercising, lost weight, got down to like 166 pounds, and I'm still there. I'm probably in the best physical shape. Huh?
How tall are you?
5'11".
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm probably in the best physical shape that I've been since probably my 20s.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still have a bad back. I still have a sciatica that tears up my my leg whenever I started overexerting and stuff. And yeah, dude, getting old sucks. I am not going to be hiking any mountains anytime soon.
Yeah.
But it doesn't keep me from, doing the yard, and I got 2 acres that I mow with my mower, and I still do all the hunting and fishing, and try to do as many activities as I can. So
yeah.
So Bill,
yeah,
speaking of
but the doctor's appointments. Hold on, real quick.
Oh yeah,
the doctor's appointments.
Like,
did you remember seeing? Yeah, do you remember seeing like your grandparents? Like they had all these like, bottles of pills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you notice when you started getting yours?
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't have any dailies?
Well, I have
high blood pressure.
No blood pressure. No blood pressure.
You have no blood pressure, so you're like dead.
What I've done, quite honestly, is I was talking to Tom Cochran about this earlier. I'm skeptical of everything and everyone, and especially like pharmaceutical companies. And I didn't go see a doctor for like 20 years, and I found a good doctor. And she does a complete blood panel on me every year, twice a year. And I look at it, and she knows that, okay, this guy's an asshole. He's not going to listen to what I say. So I'm going to give him what I think. I'm going to give him options, and he's going to choose. what I've done is I have taken the blood tests, read them, figure out, okay, what's low, what's high. Okay, what do I need to do? I have made myself, this, you guys are going to laugh at me because everybody does, but I have a powder that I put in my coffee every morning that's made up of different organic mushrooms and cacao and that kind of stuff. Seems to be working because I'm.
But no, that's fine. That's
You guys are
fine.
talking about being in your hundreds. I haven't been under 200 pounds in probably 30 years.
We just Todd the witch doctor over here,
I mean, but that's the biggest thing. I think that well, the funniest thing that I've noticed as you get older is that it just seems. Well, I mean, it depends on if you want to. If it's up to you, I suppose. You go to the doctor a little bit more, take a little bit more. Now I will say this: I go to the VA I have private insurance, but I go to the VA just because I like it,
Yeah.
and they will give you a pill for everything.
Yeah.
I mean everything. I mean I don't know who's paying for it. It's like it's like the $100 roll of toilet paper that the government pays. They'll give you a pill for everything. And so I mean I'm constantly turning down things that they want to give, but but I mean, when I go to the VA, if I twitch or something, next thing you know, they're reeling me in there and wanting to do a blood panel on me and a freaking colonoscopy and all kinds of stuff. I'm just like, sure, man, you want me to go do a freaking stress test? Yeah, I'll go do it. And what's worse can happen?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like the attention, I guess.
So looking over I mean, I guess the thing is like looking at some of your wins and losses over, I mean, you kind of covered a lot of it, but is there anything else that kind of stands out for you that you would like advise your younger self? Like after all these years going back in time and then telling your younger self, like, hey, this is advising yourself.
Don't quit Mr. Rose's baseball baseball class your freshman year. Yeah, I probably would tell my younger self not to do that. I probably if I were to, I wouldn't want to do it all over again. So let me just rephrase that. I probably would have been, I think, a little bit more outgoing. I think I would have enjoyed high school a little bit more.
Yeah.
I would enjoy it a little bit more. Don't be in such a hurry to grow up.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of my problem. And I just wanted to hurry up and grow up. And now I just want to stop because I don't want to get old anymore.
Yeah. There's no stopping this fucking ride. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
No, there is no stopping the ride. Yeah, that would be the one thing I would tell myself is just enjoy it a little bit more. Enjoy your friends, enjoy the school experience, make different friends. I mean, that's the thing. And everybody goes through this in life. We become so niche in who we socialize with, in school and work, but isn't it amazing that some of the people on who you would not associate with and junior high school or high school and to see who they've become, and go, God, I'd like to have known that person a little bit more back then.
I see that every time I've gone to almost all the reunions.
I've gone to none of them.
Yeah, but I've gone to most
of them.
I've
gone to none either.
I've gone to 87 and 89. Like, so I think there's this big thing. I've always thought, why don't you take why is there like all these different groups going just by year? I mean, I grew up there's like a 5 to 6 year grouping of people that I know, and then you add in my sisters, and I know tons of people. Why not? Why not just all make this one big? Every year there's a reunion, and who can come.
Along with what you're saying, though, Bill, is you're dead on, but it's also not too late. Matt Garner and I have been since junior high school, but we were never real close.
Right. See, I knew his sister, but I didn't really know Matt super well.
And Matt and I have become very close. He came out, him and his girlfriend came out here, a few years ago. 4 years ago, something like that. And I went down and I had lunch with them. And I figured, you know what? I drove into Nashville. They were here for the NASCAR race. And it's amazing that you can become closer to somebody in just like an hour meal that we spent, and just now back and forth talking.
Mhm.
We were never that close. I mean, we were always friends, but
Right.
in the same, like you were saying, we all had our little friend niches that we were involved in, and other people we knew and we'd say hi to, but they weren't necessarily close friends.
Yeah.
I would consider Matt a close friend now, and
Right.
it's never too late. Tom Cochran, who we spoke to earlier today, Tom was like one of the first people I met when we moved to Riverside, and he was
Right.
a few blocks from me, and Tom and I were close, and then we weren't for years and years and years, and it's crazy, but it's never too late either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we can get more and more people to move out here to Tennessee,
They're already coming. We just need to throw some of the ones
I
we don't
know.
want.
Just start sending them. Come to where the food is.
Yeah.
As Sam Kinison once said.
Yeah. And honestly, it is hard to, but I have noticed when I've gone to the reunions, I mean, it picks up pretty quick, right? I mean, if we tell my story with Todd, I mean, it was, close to 30 years, but I mean, it's almost instantaneous because you have a shared experience and it kind of makes it easier, but it's also still hard to maintain because we all still have these lives. And I don't think
Right.
we're not using social media the way that we probably should. And I'm glad that we're doing this because it is a way to connect with people that, if we're doing something regularly, it's not like I'm contacting you daily and going, hey, this is what's going on. What are you doing? And we're just doing that. But there's a value to that, to staying connected, that
Sure.
gets lost if we're just doing it every once in a while, texting each other, right? And I want to keep and maintain those relationships and go from there.
Do you have health wise? Do you have like a dietary plan you set yourself up with? Do you have, or do you just like, okay, I've got to be smart, but I'm going to enjoy myself anyway.
I mean, there's foods I don't eat for the,
Okay,
I
we're not
try to
talking
not.
about gas, so
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah.
since high school.
I mean, I don't have any like set dietary things. I'm just like, you know, hey, do you want pie with your, as a dessert or cake? Yeah, I avoid all those things. I don't drink Coke and stuff. But yeah, I'm not like a stickler to, I have to have, X amount of grains of protein a day and all that's. Nah. I work out every day, and I do that more. And I like, I'm trying to get anything that I'm not. I'm just trying to maintain what I have. I feel that as you get older, it's so difficult to maintain or to keep your size, your muscles. And yeah, I don't want to lose it. So,
I don't
I
know.
don't
There's
like
no old man strength.
But yeah,
I believe in that.
well, there is old man strength. That is
I
actually
believe in that.
real thing. No, it's real. It is. It's legit.
Yeah. Like
Ask
you
my
don't
kids.
lose that. Like I've had like people come up and you're like, okay. I go, I may look a certain way, but there's some strength here that you don't know exists, right? Until you push it, right?
so Bill, something that we kind of we didn't have this written down. We kind of thought about it on the fly with Tom earlier, and just if you have thoughts or something you'd want to put out there on classmates, friends that have passed on. If you have some positive stories about some folks, you might not. I mean, we're hoping that during these conversations that we might be able to get some positive things for their family that was either too young or different situations.
Yeah, I don't know a ton that have passed on just because I don't think I'm like super connected, especially not being out there.
Yeah.
I'd heard that that Tony Felipe passed away or Tony Phillippe passed away a number of years ago. I mean, that's true.
I had heard the same thing. I have not. I
Yeah,
have
I,
heard.
I
We
think
cannot confirm.
yeah, I think I heard. I'm pretty sure that was true. I don't know if there's anybody on here live that could.
Yeah, if anybody's on live and knows Tony.
But as far as so for as far as him, if in fact that is true, my funny story for him. So I mean, obviously he went to Troth Elementary with you and I. And I mean, like me and him had some classes together. I spent the night over his house a few times. Of course, I was like in first, second grade, right? And then lost touch when I went to Glen Avon. And then I had classes with him at Harupa and all that. And then, of course, when we got to high school, he was like, God, what did they call him? Punk rock, whatever. The group he hung around with. And so, I mean, I didn't have any classes with him or anything, didn't have a whole lot of interactions with him. I knew him. We'd say hi in the hallway every once in a while. And I remember an incident in my junior year, probably another reason why I hated my junior year. We were down at the beach for some function. I don't know why we went down. You were there, James. It was something. I think we rode down there together with Roxanne Euler.
Yeah.
I think her parents are the ones that drove us down there, maybe, or something. Anyways, it was some beach thing, and Jamie and I got into an argument.
Yeah.
And then one of Tony's friends starts piping in, fight.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him, like Jamie and I are gonna fight, right?
Yeah.
And so
Jamie and I would have fought, but not you.
Yeah, not he and I. And so I turned to him and I'm like, whatever, shut the hell up, or I'll beat your ass, whatever. Because I think he was like a really small kid. And so he and I go, kind of size each other up. And man, Tony came out of nowhere and just clocked me.
Yeah.
Tony was a big dude.
Yeah.
And he clocked me. And I'm like sitting there and I'm holding my jaw and I'm just like, oh man, I just felt like my whole face was broken. And I looked up at him and I'm like, what the fuck, Tony? And I go, dude, we've known each other since like first grade. He's like, I know, Bill, but this guy's my little buddy. And I'm just like, whatever. I like walked off holding my face together. And so I wanted to kill him. I wanted to go to his house and I was literally going to like stand outside his window with a baseball bat and I was going to bash him in, right? That's how mad I was that he cold-cocked me. So fast forward 4 or 5 months, I decided to walk off campus and went down the Quick Mart down the street. I forgot what it was called. Where people would go to walk off campus. They'd walk down the street to the Quick Mart, whatever, and get food.
Yeah.
So I go down there. I don't know why I left campus. And anyway, some dude is running amok. He's fighting with his girlfriend, and he starts challenging everybody to fight him. Because he's pushing her around, all kinds of stuff. And everybody's ignoring him, and he's just ranting and raving, come on, fight me, just. So I'm like, well, shit, I ain't doing anything, So I walk over there, and I'm like, why don't you leave her alone? Okay, so we square off, and it's a full-on brawl in the parking lot, and I got this guy in a headlock on the ground, and we're fighting, and then all of a sudden, his whole body goes limp. And I'm like, what the hell? And I look down and he's passed out. And I'm like, what the hell? Well, what I didn't see happen is Tony Felipe came up and kicked him in the gut and just like knocked him out. Right. And I looked up and I'm like, what the heck? And he goes, I got your back, bro. It's just funny because here's the guy that, 3 months later about knocked my head off. I don't know if he just liked fighting and he just took the opportunities to be someone's backup but anyways, that's my funny Tony Felipe story. If in fact what I heard is true, and And if so, rest in peace. And if not, I apologize to the family for suggesting otherwise. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we definitely want to do that. And I mean, we want to have those serious moments where we do kind of in memoriam, try to capture some of the people that have passed and give some good memories. I mean, we obviously don't know everybody, right? And
right.
be able to give a story for everyone that has passed, but hopefully there'll be people on that do know them, that were close to them, and can give us insights to who they were and some of the funny stories that are there. And you're as you're conveying this, and just on the topic of my brother-in-law, James Hewitt, right? When you mentioned, you two getting into potentially arguments and fighting and that kind of stuff. He was one of the most irritating little fucks.
He still is.
I know.
Okay, I've got an irritating story.
But he was one of the most irritating guys when it came to stuff, and he loved doing it. He just loved.
Yes, he did. He's the ultimate antagonist.
Yeah.
So I have a story for you about James Hewitt, and I hope he's listening. If he denies it, he's full of crap. Okay? And I'm not even going to talk about the time he was peeing on my police car or anything like that. I won't even mention that. Okay. So, so we had a contract city in Paris. It was Canyon Lake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's under the sheriff's department. So I was working patrol in Canyon Lake. And when you work in Canyon Lake, or at least back then, you're the only cop in Canyon Lake.
Yeah.
And so when you need a backup, they have to come from Paris, which is like, 15, 20 miles away.
Yeah.
So, and this is just one story of an entire handbag full of stories I got at James.
Yeah.
I'm just this one.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure you do too. So, and then we have them together as well.
Yeah.
So,
have them together. He's got, yeah.
So I stopped this car, and this guy in the car was massive.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him, and I forgot what I pulled him over for, but I'm running his license. And so your dispatch, when someone's wanted, they'll come out, hey, 1035, and that means that they have further information and the guy, and that there's a possible want on the person. And so he hears this and he knows what it means.
Yeah.
And he goes, why are they saying that? Why are they saying that? I'm like, hey man, just relax. I go, I'm sure it's a no big deal. He goes, I'm not wanted. I'm not wanted. And I go, well, they haven't said that you are wanted. And he goes, I'm working with the feds, I'm as a witness. And I'm like, listen, man, just relax. And he goes, no, man, I'm not wanted. Listen, I'm like $165. This guy's like 300. He's like 6'4". He looked like he was 6'10", at midnight,
Yeah.
And so I finally tell him, I go, listen, I'm sure it's just a mistake. I go, let me fix this all. I go, but would you mind just taking a seat in the back of my car? He goes, no, screw you, man. I ain't taking a seat in your car. And I go, listen, because I'm doing everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, man, I go, just take a seat in my car. I go, I won't even handcuff you. I go, just take a seat. He goes, you're not going to handcuff me. I go, no, man, I'm not going to handcuff you. So I put him in the backseat of my car. He's not handcuffed. And I'm just like happy he's back there, and because at least I don't have to fight him out on the street by myself. And so anyways, when they said 1035, Hewitt hears this and he starts rolling up my way, unbeknownst to me.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they tell me that the guy's wanted, he's got some warrants and whatnot. And so I go back and I tell him, I'm like, hey, they're saying that you got warrants. And he's like, man, I don't have warrants. I'm working with, I don't remember who it was. He said he was working with somebody as an informant. And I go, well, maybe we'll see if we can clarify that. And in the meantime, I've already called for a tow truck to tow his car because the guy's going to go to jail. I just haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet.
Yeah.
Because I've got him in the backseat of my car and he's not handcuffed. And well, Jamie shows up. And so I tell him, I'm like, yeah, I go, guy's wanted. He's got some warrants. And I go, but he's not handcuffed. And I go, I got to get him handcuffed. And I go, I'm just waiting for the tow truck to get here. But man, when the tow truck gets here, I go, he is going to freak out. And he was like, oh, okay. So anyways, I'm doing something outside the car. I mean, I was inventorying his car is what I was doing. The next thing I hear is this guy's in the backseat of my car yell, "I'm gonna kill you. And dude, he's shaking the glass, shaking the screen. My whole squad car is shaking back and forth. And
Sure it
Jamie's
wasn't
sitting there.
Todd? Sure wasn't Todd in the back of the
I'm not that big.
Jamie's got his baton out, and back there we had the wood baton, and he's raking the screen between the suspect, like Green Mile, you know.
Antagonizing.
Antagonizing. This guy is good. I mean, you seen Clubber Lang in Rocky 3, and he's getting beat. He's all like going, total aggro. That was this guy in the backseat of my car. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I gotta freaking arrest this guy. I go, I still don't have him handcuffed. And Jim's like, oh, fuck that guy. He goes, and so I'm like, dude, you need to leave. Get the hell out of here. And it took me. I didn't handcuff him. I actually ended up driving him all the way to the city of Paris unhandcuffed. There's no way I was going to open the door to try and handcuff that guy.
Yeah.
I ended up telling Jamie to leave, and I ended up taking him to the city of Paris, and we drove him in our holding facility. And then I had a couple guys come in when I pulled him out of the car, so he wouldn't want to fight. And he ended up not fighting. But yeah, that was Jamie.
Yeah.
Just antagonizing this guy who at
Oh
the
yeah,
time,
he lived to antagonize me. He did.
Yeah.
He made it his life mission during high school to antagonize me, on a regular basis. But yeah, I love the guy, and I mean, I'm glad he ended up with my sister, and they have a happy marriage too. Great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, like I told you the other day, he was out here a couple of years ago visiting, and I hadn't seen him in a few years, and it was such a great time, seeing him and Julie and hanging out and
yeah, I think I'd spent just before that I had spent a Christmas with them. Over a Christmas vacation, I had gone out there, and I think one night we had gone over his other brother-in-law's house, and we sang Neil Diamond songs.
Oh, dude, love Neil Diamond. I love
that
Neil
in
Diamond.
Chicago. Remember Chicago? I mean, Chicago. Yeah, that was it, man.
Neil Diamond's my spirit artist.